You know the old saying, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll end up starring in a wild YouTube video after reeling in some bizarre creature. With that in mind, here are the 15 most surprising fishing moments from around the world. Number 15. Magnet fisherman finds grenade. Sure, pretty much every entry on this list requires some degree of skill when it comes to perfecting the fine art of line fishing, catchnet fishing, or piloting the deep-sea vessels that tackle the ravenous oceans. But have you ever heard of magnet fishing? Well, amazingly, magnet fishing, where people hunt for metal and treasures submerged in canals and rivers, is actually increasing in popularity, with thousands of brave new fishing pioneers uploading videos of their unbelievable finds on YouTube. Amazingly, the hobby has been championed as a combination of environmentalism and treasure hunting, cleaning up the waterways and polluted rivers across the planet while potentially finding some valuable objects in the process. However, while it sounds pretty amazing, there are some terrifying dangers to be found beneath the water. Earlier this year, a popular magnet fishing channel known as Magnetic G pulled up a deadly World War II grenade left over in a murky canal. The event was so serious that a bomb squad had to be called to the location, where they evacuated any nearby residents and carried out a controlled explosion. After the bomb squad seriously surveyed the event, they determined that the grenade was so unstable that it could have exploded at any point. Phew, these magnet fishermen were pretty lucky. Number 14. Kitten rescue. Alright, we've had marlin fishing, tuna fishing, great white shark fishing, even sea lion fishing. None of them come close to this next unexpected entry. Cat fishing. Well, kitten fishing technically. Wait, catching kittens? Isn't that incredibly cruel-hearted and just plain evil? What are the kittens even doing in the lake? We have so many questions. Well, fear not, because this heroic tale of kitten rescuing shows two brave fishermen risking their pole-catching credibility to save a pair of stranded baby felines. While on a fishing trip to Warrior River in Quinton, Alabama, two friends, Jason Frost and Brandon Key, were idly waiting for something to bite their lines when they heard a strange splashing sound nearby. At first, the pair couldn't quite make out what had made that noise, but after a few moments of silence, they heard the distinct sound of meowing and quickly spotted a waterlogged cat desperately swimming toward them. As the pair are initially astonished by what they're seeing, a baby orange tabby paddles toward the boat before one of the men picks it up. Amazingly, as the kitten starts drying off, the pair spot another cat paddling towards them, an identical kitten, which turned out to be its twin. Once the pair had returned to shore, fate delivered a bewildered family who had witnessed the whole event and, incredibly, they took the kittens in as their own. It isn't entirely clear how the kittens ended up on that lake, but it is believed that they were sadly abandoned in a nearby river before washing down into the lake proper. Life finds a way, right? Number 13. Jackpot bluefin tuna catch. Alright, we should probably address the elephant in the room, or more importantly, the tuna in the ocean, because while each and every one of these entries have been incredible and surprising displays of oceanic exploration, when it comes to the real big bucks on the ocean, there's only one fish in question, bluefin tuna. While you may have been resigned to the sad truth of canned tuna, bluefin tuna as a whole is considered to be one of the most expensive fish in the ocean, with the largest specimens selling for over $3 million per tuna. Back in 2019, a 612-pound fish sold at auction for the record-breaking amount, and it seems that anyone lucky enough to catch an oversized bluefin tuna is in for a pretty hefty payday. Have you guys ever caught a bluefin tuna? Let us know down below. Number 12. Amazonian fisherman finds giant anaconda. Okay, while there may be some pretty hardcore locations on Earth for you to earn a living as a fisherman, surely the Amazon River is the most terrifying of them all, right? Well, if it was ever in doubt, then this next terrifying story will surely seal the deal. Back in 2014, while fishing throughout the legendary Santa Maria River in Brazil's southwestern territories, a group of men filmed the unbelievable moment that they hauled a huge serpent from the murky depths of the Amazon River. In one of the most insane fishing moments imaginable, the group pulled forth a huge Brazilian anaconda from the river, and at one point the animal became so stressed that it nearly swallowed the entire group. The serpent in question, which was estimated to be at least 17 feet long, was believed to have been chowing down on its lunch before it was brought to the surface, which frankly is just plain rude. At one point in the video, things get pretty hairy, and we have to highlight the fact that the trio of men put the animal in a seriously distressing situation. While the anaconda ultimately escaped unharmed, the three men were later fined over $600 each by the Brazilian authorities for hunting wildlife without a license. Number 11. Piranha bites pro fisherman. For centuries, stories of the ravenous piranha fish have circulated across the rivers and waterways of the world, often resulting in a terrifying tale of gruesome urban legend where an unfortunate victim succumbs to these ravenous tiny creatures. While the piranha is pretty tame for the most part, and the urban legends that surround this creature have never been proven true, this next surprising moment may suggest otherwise. Take a look at a small boat filled with fishermen hauling on board a black piranha. Overjoyed with her catch to begin with, the thrill of the catch is quickly cut short, as the piranha takes a huge chunk out of the fisherman's finger. As it turns out, this fish was actually a black piranha, a creature that has the most powerful bite of any animal in history, even a legendary prehistoric T-Rex. Astonishingly, outsized jaw muscles allow the black piranha to exert a bite force equivalent to over 30 times its own body weight, a feat currently unmatched in the natural world. In fact, relative to their own size, piranhas outperform pretty much every prehistoric monster, even the whale-chomping megalodon. It may be pint-sized, but it sure packs a punch. Now it's time for today's topic. In the summer of 2025, a group of local fishermen near the banks of Lake Balkhash in southeastern Kazakhstan found themselves in a terrifying situation they'll never forget. While casting their nets in the shallow, algae-rich waters just after dawn, they felt an intense tug, stronger than anything they'd experienced before. At first, they assumed it was a tangled mass of catfish or even debris, but when the net surfaced, what they saw was beyond comprehension. Entangled in the ropes was the head of a massive, slug-like aquatic creature, with skin like wet granite and a gaping jaw lined with irregular, jagged teeth. Its single eye, cloudy and oversized, locked onto the men. The creature's body, at least 25 feet long, thrashed violently, nearly capsizing their boat. One fisherman described the animal as part fish, part nightmare, with features resembling no known species in the region. Some believed it could be a mutant spawned by decades of toxic runoff from nearby industrial plants, while others whispered rumors of an ancient creature awakened from the lakebed. Before wildlife officials could arrive, the beast tore free from the net and slipped silently back into the murky waters, leaving shredded nylon and shaken witnesses in its wake. Number 10. The castnet fishing lottery in India. Alright, for our first entry into these turbulent waters, let's take a moment to enjoy the serene beauty and meditative practices that fishing has traditionally provided throughout the ages. No matter where you are on the planet, even if you're in the most landlocked country on Earth, fishing has a big part to play for the community. But for the coastal people of Tamil in southern India, fishing is the pillar in which their civilization is built around. Take a look at these extraordinary sights as a group of fishermen use the tried and tested method of castnet fishing in order to reap the bountiful blessings of the sea. The process begins at dawn, with fishermen gathering along the shore, their nets meticulously folded and ready for the day's work. With a rhythmic precision honed over generations, they wade into the water, casting their nets in wide, sweeping arcs that seem almost like a choreographed dance. The nets, weighted at the edges, sink quickly to trap the fish below, and the fishermen pull them back with practiced ease. It's a sight to behold, as the sunlight glints off the water and the nets glimmer like silver webs. The teamwork among the fishermen is remarkable, with each person playing a crucial role in ensuring the success of the catch. The sense of community is palpable, as the day's haul is often shared among families and sold at bustling local markets. This ancient practice not only sustains their livelihoods but also preserves a cultural heritage that has been passed down for centuries. The Tamil Nadu coastline, with its rich marine biodiversity, provides an ideal setting for this traditional method, making it both a practical and spiritual endeavor. In truly astonishing numbers, these fishermen employ an expert methodology to maximize their catch. And as they lift their nets from the waters, thousands of flapping fish are brought to the surface. Along the coastline of southern India, there are over 600 fishing villages that provide most of the country with their supply of fish. And so the Tamil Nadu people have been celebrated as some of the most capable and incredible fishermen on the planet. While the people of Tamil Nadu have taken some liberties with the traditional castnet practice, it's thought that the technique originated in the Polynesian islands of the Pacific, where fishing was heralded as an almost sacred skill. Number 9. Sea lion attacks Russian fisherman. Sure, this list may be about surprising fishing moments, but as far as we know, the ocean is home to a multitude of incredible creatures. However, even if you were the most seasoned sailor on the seven seas, you certainly wouldn't want to find this next entry on the end of your line. Take a look at this astonishing moment, recorded back in 2014, when an angry sea lion decided to take its revenge on a group of fishermen after being accidentally caught in their nets and dragged on board their boat. The chaos began almost immediately, with the massive creature letting out deep, guttural roars that echoed across the deck, sending the crew scrambling for safety. One fisherman, in an attempt to calm the situation, tried to approach the sea lion with a long pole, but the animal lunged at him, forcing him to retreat. The sheer size of the sea lion was overwhelming, with some crew members later estimating it weighed close to 800 pounds. As it flailed about, the deck became slippery with seawater and fish remains, making it even harder for the crew to maintain their footing. At one point, the sea lion managed to knock over a stack of fishing gear, sending crates and ropes tumbling across the deck. The ship's dog, a loyal companion to the crew, barked furiously at the intruder, but this only seemed to agitate the sea lion further. In a heart-stopping moment, the sea lion turned its attention to the dog, clamping down on its hind leg before the crew intervened with a high-pressure hose. The powerful spray finally disoriented the creature enough for the crew to guide it toward the edge of the boat. Although the crew tried their utmost to calm the creature, obviously it was pretty darn enraged after being plucked from the ocean. And one Russian fisherman took the brunt of the sea lion's anger as it thrashed across the deck. Astonishingly, it's not quite done just yet, and the sea lion then moves across the deck, looking for a way to escape before then taking on the ship's dog, taking a chunk out of it in the process. As you may imagine, the extraordinary event was pretty darn terrifying for everyone involved, and the crew thankfully managed to get the sea lion back in the water after soaking it down with an onboard hose. Number 8. Spear fisherman gets head bitten. Alright, from magnet fishing to spear fishing, and believe us, it doesn't get any more extreme than this. Throughout history, many cultures across the planet have pioneered their own method of spear fishing in order to pluck the freshest food possible straight from the source of a river or coastal ocean. And now, in modern times, spear fishing has become somewhat of a thrill-seeking hobby for many brave adventurers. Such is the case with Fisherman Will Kraus, a Florida resident who came face to face with one of the most terrifying creatures possible while spear fishing in the Bahamas with his friends. The day had started like any other, with Will and his friends diving into the crystal-clear waters, marveling at the vibrant coral and schools of fish. As Will prepared to spear a large grouper, the serene underwater world suddenly turned into a nightmare. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted the unmistakable silhouette of a shark gliding toward him with alarming speed. The predator's movements were eerily calm at first, but within seconds, it lunged at Will with its jaws wide open. His friends, who were just a few feet away, watched in horror as the shark clamped down on his head, thrashing violently. In a desperate attempt to free himself, Will instinctively jabbed at the shark's gills with his spear, which may have been what caused the creature to release him. The water around him turned red as he swam frantically to the surface, his heart pounding with adrenaline. Miraculously, the shark swam off, leaving Will shaken but alive. Take a look at this extraordinary footage where Will, who was swimming through a coral reef just off the coast, came face to face with a 7-foot reef shark that appeared out of nowhere to ravage his head and neck. Terrifyingly, the creature made its way out of the murky blue to attack Will, where it seemed that he was a goner. But for some reason, the shark suddenly released him. Will later reported that the only thing he could remember is the sound of the crunch of his head, which, as you may imagine, wasn't a pleasant sound at all. Incredibly, Will only suffered minor injuries and lived to tell the tale with GoPro footage included. Number 7. Giant marlin jumps onto boat. In the world of extreme deep-sea fishing, marlin are some of the most coveted varieties of fish, particularly blue and black marlin, and of course, as comes with the territory, they're also some of the most dangerous. While you may think that sharks may be some of the most dangerous fishing adversaries on the planet, and sure they are, marlin do things a little differently. Prone to jumping straight out of the ocean, marlin are notorious for their ravenous needle-like nose that they thrash around once they're caught, and in many cases, it's resulted in some extreme injuries. In one infamous incident, a marlin's sharp bill pierced straight through the hull of a small fishing boat, leaving the crew scrambling to patch the hole before they sank. Another story tells of a fisherman who narrowly avoided serious injury when a marlin's thrashing tail knocked him off his feet and sent him sliding across the deck. These fish are not only powerful but also incredibly fast, capable of reaching speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, making them a true challenge to reel in. The sheer force of a marlin's leap can send fishing lines snapping like twigs, leaving even the most experienced anglers stunned. Some fishermen have described the experience of catching a marlin as fighting a torpedo with fins, a testament to their strength and unpredictability. It's not uncommon for marlin to leap several feet into the air, creating a breathtaking yet dangerous spectacle for anyone on board. The combination of their size, speed, and sharp bill makes them one of the most formidable catches in the ocean. Take a look at this incredible video where a seemingly seasoned deep-sea fisherman watches in shock and horror as a giant marlin is hauled onto the boat, scaring him so much that his only option was to bail overboard. As the giant fish emerges from the water, its long body begins thrashing about the deck in a terrifying display, and in an attempt to escape, the crew member figures that the ocean is a safer place than his own boat. Yeah guys, that's precisely how dangerous these things are. Who would have thought that, right? A fisherman hauling in one of the biggest catches imaginable, only to decide that the sea is a safer place. Yikes. Number 6. Molly fishing ritual. Alright, while Russian ice fishing may have become a symbolic national pastime, this next entry is one of the most incredible displays of community we've ever seen, highlighting the importance of traditional fishing practices and the role that they play in society. Once a year, In the West African country of Mali, the people of the Dogon travel to the sacred Antogo Lake in a traditional practice that has dated back thousands of years. The event begins with a ceremonial gathering, where the elders of the community perform rituals to honor their ancestors and seek blessings for a bountiful catch. As the sun rises, hundreds of men armed with handmade fishing baskets and nets line the shores, waiting for the signal to begin. When the call is given, the scene erupts into a chaotic yet mesmerizing spectacle, with participants rushing into the water, shouting and laughing as they compete to grab as many fish as possible. The energy is electric, and the air is filled with the sound of splashing water and the cheers of onlookers. For many, the fish they catch during this event will provide food for their families for weeks, making it a vital tradition for survival. Despite the frenzy, there is a deep sense of unity and respect among the participants, as they all share the same goal of honoring their heritage. The event also serves as a rare opportunity for the Dogon people, who are often spread across remote villages, to come together and strengthen their bonds as a community. In a wild flurry of activity, the Dogon people grab at the water in a feverish attempt to snatch a fish after they've been cornered into shallow water. To the Dogon people, the Antogo Lake is incredibly sacred, and as the country is mainly composed of the Sahara Desert and the dry steppes of the Sahel, natural water is hard to come by. Throughout the year, it's illegal to fish in the lake, save for one day a year when the Dogon people fish together in a celebration of their ancestors. Amazing. Number 5. Great white shark interrupts tuna fisherman. Alright, speaking of being rudely interrupted at an inopportune moment, try this next one out for size. Now there are few creatures in the ocean that are as symbolically terrifying as the great white shark, and although they're certainly not the most nightmare-inducing creature on the planet, they're definitely the last thing that an amateur fisherman would ever dream of catching. And believe it or not, it occurred in a pretty unlikely place, the Adriatic coast of Italy, a coastal location not usually associated with the terrifying toothy predators in question. Witnesses described the moment as something straight out of a horror movie, with the shark's dorsal fin slicing through the water as it approached the pier. The boy, completely unaware of the danger at first, only realized what was happening when the shark lunged for his catch. Onlookers screamed as the massive predator thrashed in the shallow waters, creating a frenzy of splashing and chaos. Some brave locals tried to help by shouting instructions, but there was little anyone could do against such a powerful creature. The shark's sheer size and strength were enough to snap the fishing line like it was a piece of thread, leaving the boy stunned and empty-handed. One fisherman later remarked that it was a miracle the shark didn't come closer to the pier, as the shallow waters could have easily trapped it in a panic. The incident sparked a wave of curiosity and fear in the local community, with many wondering if climate change or shifting migration patterns were bringing these apex predators to new territories. The event even made headlines in local newspapers, with some dubbing it the Adriatic Jaws. Back in 1998, while a small boy was fishing off of a local pier, a great white shark emerged from the water in an effort to claim the catch for itself. The event was so terrifying that nearby holidaymakers were forced to flee the beaches, as it was believed to be the first time that a great white species had ever been sighted in this area. The shark, which was said to have been around 18 feet long, somehow managed to swallow the fisherman's catch whole before then dragging the fishing rod beneath the water. What the heck? Although the event was incredibly rare back in the late 90s, now it seems great white sharks are increasingly popping up at locations that they usually wouldn't have run before. We're gonna need some bigger boats, right? Number 4. Humpback whale almost swallows diver. Ever heard the parable about Jonah and the whale? Pure fiction, right? How can a tiny human survive being swallowed whole by a giant whale-like monster? Well, if this next astonishing entry is anything to go by, then this tale of biblical proportions may at least seem plausible. Back in 2013, this extraordinary footage was captured after a group of deep-sea scuba divers were exploring near California's Avila Beach. Little did they know that deep beneath the murky blue waves, a group of humpback whales were feeding on a pocket of krill. As the divers floated in awe of the underwater scenery, they suddenly noticed a massive shadow moving beneath them. One diver later described the moment as like watching a submarine emerge from the depths. The whales, completely unaware of the diver's presence, surged upward with their mouths wide open, creating a vortex of water that nearly pulled one diver off balance. The sheer size of the whales was overwhelming, with their massive jaws coming within just a few feet of the divers. One of the divers' GoPro cameras captured the heart-stopping moment when a whale's mouth breached the surface, narrowly missing the group. The sound of the whale's exhalations echoed through the water, adding to the surreal and terrifying experience. Despite the close encounter, the divers remained calm, knowing that the whales were not aggressive, but simply focused on their meal. In a super close call, the whales careened through the waves with their mouths wide open without realizing that the divers were bobbing about above. Now, it's important to note that humpback whales are baleen whales, and so are incredibly docile and not predatory in the slightest. And of course, as a rule, they do not eat humans. Yikes, still pretty close call, right? Number 3. Russian fishermen asleep on the job. While regular fishing is found in almost every corner of the planet, in the colder places on Earth, it requires a little ingenuity and creativity in order to snag yourself a frosty line. In the Northern Hemisphere, particularly northern Canada, Alaska, and Russia, ice fishing has become a symbolic pastime of the hardy adventurers who brave the frozen landscape, carve a hole in the ice, and hope that a fish will take the bait. For many, it's not just about the catch but also about the camaraderie and the chance to embrace the harsh beauty of winter. In some cases, ice fishing shacks are equipped with heaters, radios, and even small stoves, turning the experience into a cozy retreat on the ice. However, it's not uncommon for things to get a little out of hand, especially when vodka is involved. One viral video shows a group of Russian fishermen turning their ice fishing trip into a full-blown party, complete with music and dancing on the ice. Another clip features a man who brought a recliner out onto the frozen lake, turning his fishing spot into a makeshift living room. Of course, the cold can be unforgiving, and some fishermen have been known to fall asleep only to wake up with their lines frozen solid in the water. In one particularly hilarious instance, a fisherman woke up to find a fish had taken his bait and was flopping around on the ice next to him. However, in some frozen towns and cities in Russia, the locals enjoy ice fishing a little too much, like this guy. A Russian fisherman who had carved a hole in the ice dropped his line and then enjoyed a few sips of vodka while he waited and waited and waited to the point where he forgot all about the ice fishing and decided to have a much-needed snooze instead. Hey, it's a hobby for a reason, right? Oh my god. Number 2. Ronnie the fishing dog. And for our final entry into this surprising world of deep-sea fishing, what better note to end on than with man's best friend? Wait, what? Dogs can fish too? Oh yeah, you better believe it. Feast your eyes on Ronnie the fishing dog, an incredible golden retriever and expert fisher dog who was captured on camera as she caught a huge catfish for her owners before bringing it back to shore. What's even more impressive is the precision and patience Ronnie displays while fishing, waiting for just the right moment to strike. Her owners have shared that she was never formally trained for this. It seems to be an instinctive skill she developed on her own. In one particularly jaw-dropping clip, Ronnie can be seen wading into the water, carefully scanning for movement before lunging and emerging triumphantly with a fish in her mouth. Her technique is so effective that some viewers have joked she could outfish most humans. Ronnie's fame has even inspired other dog owners to test their pets' fishing abilities, though few have come close to matching her natural talent. Beyond her fishing skills, Ronnie has also become a symbol of the unique bond between humans and animals, showing just how much dogs are willing to do for their families. Her videos have racked up millions of views, with fans from around the world marveling at her abilities and cheering her on. While some skeptics initially doubted the authenticity of her skills, Ronnie's consistent success has silenced any critics. While you may have seen fishermen across the planet utilizing birds and other animals in order to complete their catch, Ronnie the fishing dog seems to offer a brand new partnership in the fishing world. After her first video went viral, she's since been seen catching dozens of fish and even a turtle too. What do you guys think? Would you love to have a dog like Ronnie? Let us know down below. Number 1. Mako shark jumps onto boat. Okay, while we're on the subject of terrifying sharks and the fishermen who accidentally catch them, let's take a look at this next unbelievable entry. Well, while we say catch, what we really mean is somehow flung out of the ocean at incredible speeds and getting itself lodged into the ship's rigging. As you can see from this absolutely insane footage, back in 2017, an energetic Mako shark took a group of fishermen by surprise when it leapt into their boat and became tangled by the vessel's rigging. The shark's sudden appearance was so shocking that one of the fishermen nearly dropped his equipment overboard in panic. Its powerful thrashing caused chaos on the deck, with ropes and gear flying everywhere as the crew scrambled to avoid the razor-sharp teeth. At one point, the shark's tail whipped so violently that it knocked over a cooler, spilling its contents across the deck. The crew could hardly believe their eyes as the shark continued to struggle, its sleek body glinting in the sunlight as it fought to free itself. One fisherman even joked nervously, "This is not what I signed up for," as he cautiously tried to approach the trapped predator. The sheer strength of the shark was a stark reminder of just how powerful these creatures are, even out of the water. Despite the chaos, the crew worked together, carefully strategizing how to untangle the shark without putting themselves in harm's way. It was a tense few minutes, with everyone holding their breath as they inched closer to the thrashing animal. However, while this distressing footage seems to be the end of the line for our unfortunate friend, worry not, because there's a happy ending to this tangled tale. As the footage shows, initially the crew were both terrified and gobsmacked that the event had even occurred, but after a few minutes of composing themselves, the crew managed to loop a rope around the shark's tail and eventually lower the beast back into the water. Phew, close call, right? And there you have it, the 15 most surprising fishing moments from around the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up while you're at it. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. This has been Thought Trails. See you next time.